So you're running right now. You're running for president
Yeah.
with the under the Democratic Party, right?
Yeah, at the moment.
Okay. And so is it normal that someone is able to run against the incumbent? I want to make this clear from audience, because some audience, I hear words a lot of times and I don't know what they mean, right? So like the incumbent is the guy who's already in office, right?
Yeah.
So if a president has already done one term, then he's the incumbent as he goes up to do the second term, right?
Yeah.
And he has to run against someone who's submitted by the other party.
Well, he ultimately has to run the other party, is going to nominate somebody to run against him.
So the Republicans will nominate somebody to run against.
But if you're a Democrat, if you're popular within your own party, a lot of times you won't have a challenger from within your own party. So you'll only have to go to the prize fight. You don't have to, fight all the belugas who are coming after you. But,
and who determines if they have to fight all the belugas?
Well, it would be, me. I would run against him. But my father ran against Lyndon Johnson in '68.
Mm-hmm.
Lyndon Johnson was an incumbent Democratic president, and my father challenged him, and ultimately Johnson withdrew, and he pulled out of the way at race, and then my father won the primaries, and he was killed. My father was killed on the last night of the primaries, so June 6th. He won, the last primaries, California, South Dakota, and a couple of others, and he was killed that night. My uncle Ted Kennedy ran in 1980 against Jimmy Carter, who was a president of his own party. So it's not uncommon for people to run against a president of their own party. And I've had a long friendship with Biden. I've known President Biden for at least 40 years.
Oh wow!
And he has a statue, a bust of my father on the behind him in the Oval Office. If any picture that you have of Biden, there's a bust of my father. You can call it up now. And there's 5 members of my family who are working in the administration.
In the Biden administration?
Yeah.
Wow.
Different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
And so...
do you think he'll get the nomination from his party for the 2024?
Well, I think I could beat him in the... you can see in that middle one, the second one from the right up there, that one. There's a bust of my father behind him.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so cool, man. That would be cool if that were my dad.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Do you think that he will get the? Yeah. So I guess I have 2 questions, because some of the
process. I think I can beat him if they give me a fair fight.
Right. Okay. But before that, do you think that he'll get the nomination?
Well, I think I could get the nomination.
Okay.
If they gave me a fair fight.
I see. Do you think that you're currently getting a fair fight?
No.
Why?
Well, because they're doing. The Democratic Party is supposed to be neutral. They're not supposed to choose favorites, but they actually endorsed him a week after he declared. And his campaign is being run out of the Democratic Party office.
Which seems like convoluted, huh?
Yeah, it's not. It's a conflict, and
because the party should be separate from the president, even if they're of the same.
Yeah, they're supposed to be.
Even if they're both Democratic.
Yeah, the party should be neutral and say, look, we're going to be the referees in this fight. It's like if you went to a football game and the referee in the game was wearing the same uniform as the guys you were playing against.
Right, you say, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. And what they've done is they've taken the states that voted most strongly against Biden last time around, and they've said, if anybody visits those, if I visit those states, and no vote in that state will count in the election. So if I go to New Hampshire, which I did, any vote that I get in New Hampshire will not count.
Any vote you get to what?
For me. So if I beat Biden in New Hampshire and I win all the delegates, those delegates will not be allowed into the convention.
But how can they just say that? Isn't there like a democratic process that overrides that?
You would think, but actually the party makes its own rules. And there was Bernie Sanders, they did the same thing to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, they cooked me, man.
And he sued them. and said, you guys rigged the game against me. You fixed it. And the court said, yes, they did fix it, but actually it's a private club and they're allowed to fix it. They can make up any rules they want. They can do anything they want. So,
see, this just leans so much more into like this stuff that like people feel like their vote
yeah,
doesn't
there
even
you go.
matter. Court concedes DNC had the right to rig primaries against Sanders.
And that's Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who,
DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz for violating the DNC charter by rigging the Democratic presidential primaries for Hillary Clinton against Bernie Sanders.
And she's the one who tried to silence me when I testified before Congress a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
And so anyway,
it just feels like it feels so dirty at every turn.